This video is purely for me to ramble about all the things that came to Dead by Daylight on June 3rd, 2024 with the D&D chapter update. I'm going to immediately start off Forgotten Ruin, the map, because this is going to impact both sides, so you don't have to skip forward to anything. I already covered this in a previous video. They didn't change anything. In fact, the map got worse. There are active bugs that exist right now. There's a pallet that actively you can just walk right next to, which is really, really weird and kind of stupid. The map, you can get underneath the floor. The Pixel Bush has a video about that on Twitter. What else? The basement is still an infinite. This is what my video covered in the PGB that I was worried about, and they didn't change anything. So, you can still infinitely loop killers if you know what you're doing, if you properly learn the map and you get an M1. Currently, Vecna counters it pretty good, and it is his map, so can't complain too hard. But once this map starts getting lower and lower on the boosted chances, especially next week when anniversary hits for the event, this is going to suck for any M1 or 4.4 pretty much. So yeah, this map is still a mess. As for the Survivor H3, I actually really like her design. Her and her cosmetics are all pretty good. You have this Barmir cosmetic that, I'm gonna be honest, looks really dumb, and then you have the H3 cosmetic, which actually looks pretty good. That being said, you can swap out the hair pieces, which is a really unique design choice for a Survivor. I'm really happy they went with this. And you can make her look really fucking stupid. So, no complaints there. As for her perks though, you have Bardic Inspiration. This is purely for BM. It has a long list of what you can do for skill checks. Ignore that. This is purely for if you stun the killer, you start playing the banjo at them, or the lute, sorry, and then you just leave. That's it. This is purely for BM and memes. If you don't play this game seriously, you're gonna use this. If you play the game semi-seriously or want to escape in solo queue, you're not gonna use this. End of the story. So expect like P100 Nias with like Dead Hard Deli DS to run this as the force slot so they can annoy you when they stun you. But it's also really funny, so I personally don't care. Second perk, Mirrored Illusion. This is gonna take some time getting used to. As a killer, I notice it really hard, and I am struggling to find out how to make a killer quote-unquote fall for it. The best bet I could guess is Red Herring, and when I get into a future series that I plan on working on called An Entity's Guide to Blank, first episode's gonna be on Deception actually, I'll probably try hooking up something with this. Best guess right now is Red Herring. Hopefully by then there's some other perks that come out that like warrant full in the killer a little bit on generators, but currently there's just not anything that this really works with. And our last perk is Still Sight, which this is only going to be good in Swifts. I'm a be dead ass. You basically see the killer of everything. Generators, chests, killer. Like, you see the killer's aura. So, the problem is that you have to stand still for 4 seconds. So sometimes if a killer's doing a mind game, like they stand still on LT wall, they usually stand still for 1 to 2 seconds, so it can't even activate then. If it's a Huntress lining up a shot, it's going to be incredibly useful for countering her specifically, which I hate because I do main her. Top 12 hunting main. But that's so specific, and Huntress isn't as popular as she used to be. You're more likely to encounter Wesker, or there's 40-something killers in the game right now, so you can see a lot of different people. And running one perk for one specific killer is super niche and not that good. But if you're in a Swift, and your teammate is looping, and you're on 2 floors like the game, and you're really good at callouts, like left, back, forward, like depending on if the killer's double backing or not, it's really easy to call out the killer's position. So, it's good news is that it doesn't work on gens. It does work if you're doing something like Bardic Inspiration or a perk or something, but most things don't take 4 seconds. This will probably get buffed in the future, which worries me from lack of use and also because it's just not as good. If they lower the moving time, most mind games won't work out as killer anymore, which would make it too strong. And if they increase the radius, it's going to make people have old Object of Obsession. If you are a OG from pre-movement update in 2020, you know exactly what I'm talking about, which worries me greatly. So this is a perk that's you're going to want to keep an eye on for the months to come. I would say even after 2 years, still keep an eye on it. It will probably get changed eventually. Alright, now on to Vecna himself. He's cool. I actually really like his powers, greatly enjoying him. I don't think he has much depth though. Like, I'm looking at his stuff, like he can fly, mobility, that's cool. But basically, if you put on Lethal Pursuer, you enter your first chase, You down them with Mage Hand and Fly of the Damned. Fly of the Damned, you want to use like a clown bottle. Make it to where people have to crouch, they lose some distance, or they get injured. There's actually a cool thing you can do with it, where if they're on a higher elevation than you, you can properly align Fly of the Damned and get a free hit, because since a survivor can't jump, they can't dodge Fly of the Damned through the floor. So, that's a neat tactic. It works on literally any ledge. Yamakoa, like, little shrine section, like Hawkins Stairs for the second floors, and stuff like that. It's really useful for that kind of stuff. Mage Hand is literally just, if you are within lunge distance, you pop Mage Hand real quick, and then you just vault. Like, you just lift up the pallet and you just hit them. There's a bug with Enduring that's got Jun covered. I personally wasn't using that, and it's a bug anyway, so it doesn't even matter. But that's another thing you can do right now. But then you just, like, you use Fly the Damn, Mage Hand, get it down, and then you use your flight ability, you enter another chase with Barbecue, or if you just see a survivor, most maps are pretty open nowadays, or if you have good map awareness, and then you just enter another chase really quick, and then you're already there. His orb is decent information, but you kind of only need to affect people with the orb if they have the Mage Hand gauntlets, which when you use Mage Hand, it gives them haste, and I think they say their aura for a little bit, but they get haste when you use Mage Hand for 3 seconds. And it's 7% haste, which is huge. Which basically makes Mage Hand useless. That is the only time I see you using this orb. Otherwise, it's if they have the Hand or Eye of Vecna for, like, the crazy abilities that let you teleport and cause invisibility and stuff. Which is really fun to use, and I hope they make perks that do this thing. Like, I know people, like, are gonna be like, oh, balance or whatever, but this is just fun. Like, it's just fun to use. I wish it wasn't Vecna locked, which takes me into the achievements, actually. Both unique achievements are related to Vecna himself. For Vecna as a killer is to get a 4K after Moriing, like, while you Mori someone with the Hand or Eye, as the survivor is to escape with that item. I worry if this killer's pick rate is not high enough, a lot of people are going to struggle 100%ing this game, especially if we reach 70 killers eventually, which honestly I would be really cool if the game lasts that long. Anyway, on to the perks. We have Dark Arrogance, which just boosts your vault speed, but it also increases your stun and blind time, which I'm going to be really honest here, I did not notice the extra stun time at all. 25% seems like a lot. To me, with Vecna, with his insane mobility and anti-loop that he has, once you get, like, really consistent at him, granted, it's day one, people don't fully know what they're talking about, and they don't know how to loop him just yet. It is insane how much value you get from the extra vault speed. I was running this with Bamboozle. Favorite thing to do at Shack was they vault the window, I go to the right, faking the pallet, I go to the vault, I already have Mage Hand equipped, I immediately Mage Hand the pallet. They run inside, window's blocked with Bamboozle, and they can't drop the pallet anymore. And I have gotten so many free hits doing that. I could probably make like a 10-minute compilation from today alone. It's a really good combination. I see Dark Arrogance Bamboozle being meta on him with Lethal for the people that don't like running slowdown. Good perk though, it's gonna be good on tier 3 Myers. There's also a bug you can do on RPD specifically. I have a screenshot that I can put on the screen right now that lets you get on top of this lamppost. I'm gonna be honest with you, I might spend some days as Bubba with Noed, or just at Bubba and normal, just sitting up there, just waiting for a survivor to come by, or a 9-9 tombstone piece. If anyone here makes a short with that, at me in the comments, I'd love to see it. Next perk is Languid Touch, which, if a survivor disturbs a meter within 36 meters of you, they become exhausted for 10 seconds. It's a 20-second cooldown. If this is gonna happen in mid-chase, basically means exhaustion doesn't matter. Unless they have Calm Spirit, which most people don't really run anymore, you're going to absolutely decimate any exhaustion perk they have. You won't notice it, sadly. It's not a noticeable perk for usage or anything like that. It's just going to be something that happens, and you're going to get insane value. Just know that it is working every single time there is an exhaustion, unless they sprint burst ahead of time. But even then, they're more likely to exhaust a bird or something in that format. But basically, Death Hard isn't a worry, Overcome isn't a worry, Balance Life, all that stuff, negated from this perk alone. A survivor is guaranteed to disturb a bird in chase. And then the last perk is Weave Attunement, which, when a survivor drops an item, like when a survivor's item is fully drained, they can't use it anymore, it gets dropped automatically, and you can see it as well. if they pick it back up, they get Oblivious. But what you want is for the items to stay on the ground, because you get auras within 12 meters of that item, which basically is 24 meters across. So you got a 24-meter circle that lets you just see them. Anyone within 24 meters of that item, like in a circle around that. I main Huntress, as I stated earlier in the video, unless you skip to the killer part. This is really, really good. The problem is that Huntress can't really use Franklin's that well. It's actually why I want Weighted Head to be changed into when you hit a survivor with a hatchet, they drop their item. But what happens is that when a survivor dies, they use a med kit, they heal themselves, they drop an item, they don't want to pick it back up because of Obliviousness. Huntress's lullaby, not a lot of people can tell where it is all the time. So they don't pick back up the item. Or they swap it out for something else because they're looting chests, or they run Dramaturgy, or something else. That item is now there forever. They use a toolbox. If you are properly applying pressure, they don't have time to pick back up the item. Because otherwise they're going to get hit with a hatchet, or they can't save, or they can't heal in time. Things like that. That slowly builds up over time. And the most important part though is that when people die on hook, they drop their items. So using Weave Attunement, you can strategically place people in the middle of the map or in the corners, so that when they die, you have a 24-meter circle in that area of permanent aura reading. Because no one's going to pick up that item unless they're like, unless they run directly over it. So, toolboxes and medkits you will most likely actually get value from. Keys and maps, you're probably never going to ever get Weave Attunement unless you run this with Franklin's. And flashlights will only happen if they die. That being said, you can run this with Franklin's for M1, such as Trapper and Wraith. Granted, they don't need aura reading as much, they kind of only need one information perk, they mostly need Chase and Slowdown. So this is mostly for like Nurse and Huntress and things who can't use Franklin's as well. That being said, there is another perk they can use from Doctor, called Overwhelming Presence. Now Huntress only has a 20-meter tear radius. Wesker does not. Wesker has 40-meter tear radius. So that with Overwhelming Presence, if someone tries blinding you with a flashlight, it's going to drain so fast. So if you want people to lose their beamers permanently, Overwhelming Presence, Weave Attunement for aura reading afterwards. So it's combining two perks for a unique build. I personally won't be running that. My build on Huntress is on the screen now. I use Barbecue Gearhead Lethal, and then the 4th perk slot, I'm just swapping off Weave Attunement right now for fun. So that's fun stuff. Last thing that I want to cover from today is basically just the D&D collection bundle, which has a skin for Legion, there's a skin for Knight, which looks pretty alright. Alright, Knight. There's also Michaela, there's a skin for Jeff, there's a skin for Bamir and Ashtri, which I showed earlier in the video. There's a skin for Meg, which I think is the best out of everything. And there's also a skin for Vecna, of course, which also looks pretty good. I really am praying that they add more to this collection. All the skins look absolutely fantastic. I only bought 2 of them, but I do want to get all of them eventually. But I think it's a real shame that they're not doing every single original character. I think this could be a full rift if Wizards of the Coast allows them to lose some money on that. It could be just a full collection for every single character in the game. There's a lot of cool stuff they can do. Hattie would have been a great choice for this. I don't know why they didn't do Hattie. I know there's people campaigning on Twitter about why is every single person on here white. So, like, Claudette would have been a really good pick as like a ranger or something. I already mentioned Hattie. Ace would have been a really cool sorcerer in my opinion. David could have been a barbarian. Huntress, I'm biased, but she would have been absolutely fantastic as a barbarian. I even have a custom portrait pack that's kind of similar to that. It's on the screen right now if you want to see the image. It looks really, really good. So it's really just a shame that they're not, if they don't do more characters to it. I really hope they add more, but that's up to Wizards of the Coast and Behavior Communicating, so who knows. But other than that, the only thing about this chapter that I can see happening is Mage Hand getting slightly nerfed for Vecna. It's the only kid about him that I felt like was over-tuned, but obviously, since it's his first day out, there's going to be a lot more stuff to him that people figure out. There's probably a tech or something that's going to come within the coming weeks that will then be explored and people can talk about and learn. His add-ons seem moderately okay. The part about him that you want to mostly use is Ring of Telekinesis. Ring of Telekinesis to decrease the time it takes Mage Hand to lift a pallet. This basically just means that people aren't like just sitting at the pallet, you can usually swing and hit them. Just don't stack that with anything else that does it as well, because that will go ahead and get you smacked. I know a lot of people running the Iridescence on him for blocking vaults, making him fly the dam, not dodgeable by crouching, things like that. I personally don't think don't think you should learn a killer with the Iridescence, so this is just for basic Vecna. I think Robe of Eyes is going to be pretty good, because there's a lot of treasure chests on this map, so if you want information, it's going to be superb. Bag of Holding is going to be really good for information, especially early on as people are grabbing items. But competitively, I think it's going to be Boots of Speed and Ring of Telekinesis for Mage Hand to get easy hits on. I'm going to try and see if there's going to be something I can do a Cloak of Invisibility, which is 10 seconds of undetectable each time all your spells are on cooldown. That's going to be a bit harder to do. But yeah, I think that's it. I'll cover the anniversary event next week when that comes out. I'm probably not going to do a collection for the skin reviews. There's some leaks. I know people aren't a fan of leaks, so I'm not going to cover it. The anniversary looks cool, though. I will say that. I'll do a video explaining it and just going over it. I want to do more discussion videos like that, so I'm trying to get in the habit of actually recording these and talking about it. Either way, there's going to be a video in the top right if you want to go watch that instead. It's probably going to relate to some Huntress gameplay, sadly not Vecna. I will work on getting a Vecna video out, but that's going to take a few more days, merely because I just want to watch through the games, make it a bit more edited, but not without any, like, TikTok sounds being played all the time. That's just not how I do things. Either way, I'll see you guys in the next one.